Bro.
Hello and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night. It's not going to be long. It's going to be short like the court. It was a short court today. Nothing much to say except that the man was just speaking and there's nothing said other than a lot of repeating explanations.
Yes.
And definitions that you could otherwise get yourself. So there's basically
It
nothing.
was a nightmare for me. I don't know. I just didn't like how he testifies. Like, he's avoiding answering questions. He's avoiding putting the facts of what is supposed to happen on the table. It's just ducking and diving. That's how it felt for me. And it was exhausting. I thought Brigadier Gininda's testimony was horrible until I just listened to this Sereo guy. Oh my God. I'm tired. It was a short court day, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah, let's continue.
Well, the court started off with Baloyi, for the state, or Advocate Baloyi, apologizing for accused number 5 apparently had to receive his medication, and that's the reason why they were late. He said that they had no further questions to the witness, and then Mgomezulu started with his cross-examination, and he started off by asking Sereo, Edward Sereo, Colonel Edward Sereo. He said it relates to your duties. You said that you are an operational team leader, so you are doing the same duties in 2014. You also told the court that you were allocating work for the members, and even in 2014, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena was in your team, and he said that's correct. And he said, I just want to clarify this because I'm looking at the duties that you perform, as you told the court. May I just get clarity from you? Your work also entailed reconstruction of the crime scene, and that's when Sereo answered that that is correct, but however, he must state that he stopped attending crime scenes after an interrupted period of approximately 10 years of doing crime scenes. He says he stopped doing crime scenes in 2014 when he had to focus on leadership of the operation team. So Mgomezulu then asked him, can you please tell the court when you attended the crime scene for the purpose of reconstruction, what is the procedure that is usually followed? Are you called by the IO or investigating officer to attend the crime scene, or are you assigned by the case administrators? And Sereo said that the person on a crime scene standby will be called by the person requiring the attendance of the scene, who can be the investigating officer or the crime manager. So you might not have a vivid recollection of what happened on the 27th of October 2014, but then he was asked if he can recall whether he was on duty that day, and Sereo said he could not recall. And then Mgomezulu said there's evidence by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, who said that he was called to attend the crime scene for the purpose of reconstruction by Captain Bentley. Now he asked him, do you have knowledge of that? And Sereo says, I have no knowledge of that. So he confirmed that he works with Captain Dini. But then Mgomezulu asked him, are you aware that Captain Dini attended to the crime scene on the 27th of October 2014? So basically what we are finding out here is that Dini was with Mangena on the same crime scene, or the incident that happened on October 26th, 2014, but they arrived on the 27th, which was the early hours of that morning. And Sereo said that he was not aware because Captain Dini has never reported to his operational team. Mgomezulu asked him, there is evidence before this court that Lieutenant Colonel Mangena attended the crime scene on the 27th of October 2014, and on the 13th of November 2014, he conducted an examination of the exhibits that were brought at the Forensic Science Laboratory. And Sereo said that he does not know the details, but what he knows is that in this matter, Colonel Mangena did do some work. You see how he was answering? It's very frustrating. 4 hours of listening to him, not being direct. His answers are not making me happy. Then Mgomezulu then said the essence of this question is to find out if this matter was formally and officially allocated to Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. And Sereo said, unfortunately, I don't have information or the details regarding that. So Mgomezulu asked him, because the reason why I'm recalling this is that the reason for him to attend the reconstruction of the crime scene on the 27th of October 2014, he was called by Captain Bentley, who's not working at your office. So Captain Bentley is not Mangena's superior at his office. That's interesting.
Oh, such interesting. It was always like that. Bentley is an investigator.
He's an investigator.
Yes. But he managed to get hold of Mangena directly. That is basically the question of the day, is to say, who was supposed to give those orders to Mangena to move? Who was supposed to be called?
Well, Sereo said, I hear that. And then Mgomezulu said, my question is, was Lieutenant Colonel Mangena allocated officially with this matter of 636 of 10/2014? And Sereo said, I don't have any details about that. I don't know. I was not involved in the allocation of the crime scene cases. So Mgomezulu asked him, so in this case, administration office work is allocated to different members? And then Sereo said that casework is distributed by commanders to various members. As I've said at the time that has been specified, 2014, I was not the direct commander of Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. As a result of that, I'm not in a position to explain any details regarding that. So basically, Sereo, what he's saying is that at the time, he was not a commander of Colonel Mangena. He had a different commander. And that commander was not Bentley. So Mgomezulu then asked him, but you don't have the knowledge that at that time Colonel Ramosepele was not the commander of Colonel Mangena. And then Sereo says he was our commander. He still is our commander. So to our surprise, Colonel Ramosepele, or Captain Ramosepele now as he's known, he was the commander of Colonel Mangena and Colonel Sereo, 2014. So it would be interesting to know how Bentley assigned Mangena specifically that case. So then Mgomezulu said, I'm referring to Mangena, not everyone. And Sereo said that Mangena and him report to Colonel Ramosepele. And then Mgomezulu went on to say, because he wasn't directly answering the question, now he was trying to rephrase it and put it like differently. But the essence of that is that Colonel Ramosepele is the one who officially assigned this matter to Colonel Mangena. And Sereo said, I cannot testify about the details of the allocation about the specific matter. The rest I'll just be doing will be speculation. And then Mgomezulu said, no, I'm getting there. You are involved. Just wait, Wena. I want to confirm Colonel Ramosepele was the commander of Lieutenant Mangena, and you cannot tell this court that he is the one who officially assigned 636 to Colonel Mangena. So Sereo said, what I've already explained is that members are placed on standby. So when they are on standby, when there is a crime scene to be attended, the person on standby will attend the crime scene, and the attendance of that scene is not only limited to that member alone. That member can increase his own capacity by requesting the assistance of other members to go with him. Still, you're not answering the question. You are over-explaining. You are giving me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, he was not answering the question. And he's never going to be answering the question. His main job, in my opinion, there is to make sure that this sticks, and he's trying by all means, by answering the questions with the theory, by answering the questions with the long essays, which is but keep on emphasizing that was the gun, that was the gun. That's like a coached record repeating itself. That's what he's trying to do, in my opinion, considering that the whatever statement that was made after the testimony of Mangena. It would be very interesting as to say, when were you called? When were you let known that you're going to come and testify? And have you, after reviewing, have you ever had to go to court and testify on the basis of the fact that you peer reviewed your colleagues? That would be interesting. And what case was that?
So not Mangena, Gomezulu said that in this case, an examination was conducted by Lieutenant Mangena on the 13th of November 2014, and there was a finding on his examination. You said you were aware, but not the details of what he was doing. And Sereo said that he was aware that he did some work on this matter, but he doesn't have the details. And then Gomezulu said, what I want to know is the reviewing or verification of a particular member after he has made his or her own findings. Is the verification only done when the results are positive or there is a positive match? Sereo said verification must be done irrespective of the nature of the findings. So Gomezulu then asked him, do you know who verified the findings of Lieutenant Kena Mangena on the 18th of November 2014? And Sereo does not know.
He would not know. I do expect him not to know those important questions, because if he knows them, then it changes the whole ball game. So I do expect him to distance himself from such. I think the message was clear, allegedly. Distance yourself from any knowledge of these things.
Especially on things concerning after the incident. The 18th of November 2014, that was like very close to the time of the incident. So then Ngomezulu asked him, but by law, it was supposed to be verified and reviewed. And Sereo said, in accordance with our standard operating procedure, all work of microscopic examination must be verified. And then Ngomezulu then asked him, so I can safely confirm that you did not verify those findings. And Sereo said, I did not verify them. So Ngomezulu asked him, you've been sharing knowledge of the field of ballistics. I've got two sets of versions from the state about the instrument that was used in the alleged commission of the offense.
Which was always going to be distanced from this guy. He was always going to say, I cannot give an opinion on the basis of that. It was clear. He was told, in my opinion, not to answer such questions. That is my speculation, obviously. Because they've realized that some of these questions, when they're answered, they give problems. But some of the questions are general. He even said some of it's general. You could ask anyone. But yet, he says he cannot be asked that question. But you said it's general. It could be asked to anyone. I was interested on that probing if it happened, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Gomez would let that slide and try to repeat the question, but it feels like the man is just evasive.
He is evasive. He was, and it made our job very difficult, or mine rather, very difficult. So then I can only imagine what it's like for the rest of the legal defense team or the legal defense counsel. I can only imagine. I cannot speak for the judge. I don't know if he cares. I don't know. So state witnesses who finished with the affidavits, including the affidavit of lead investigator Brigadier Gininda, people that were in the house made statements to the effect that the intruder was in possession of a .38 special revolver. The other version of the state relates to the exhibit that are alleged to have been found at the crime scene, whereby the state says a 9mm parabellum seized at 75 was used. So then Ngomezulu asked him, so you are in agreement with me that these are two different sets of firearms that were used? And Sereo said that's correct, they are different. And then Ngomezulu said it's common cause that the .38 special does not leave cartridges. And Sereo said that is correct, they must be manually extracted and ejected. Sereo confirmed that the 9mm can leave cartridges on the floor. And Ngomezulu asked him, let's look at the nature of the firearms. Will you agree with me? Say an illegal firearm and ammunition can easily exchange hands. And Baloyi said that he doesn't know what this cross-examination is. The witness is now expected to speculate. They submit that the question should be disallowed. And then Ngomezulu continued and asked Sereo that, will you be able...
Should have known from there that the question is not going to be answered. Because this is a hint, in my opinion, to the person not to answer the question.
Yes. Then Ngomezulu said, will you be able to be in a position to tell this court that an illegal firearm is possible to exchange hands. Let me give you an example. People are selling illegal firearms. I can sell an illegal firearm to you. Is that possible, correct? And Sereo said yes, but the question is too wide. It's just a generic question that has nothing to do with ballistic examination. This is a question that can be posed to anyone. I guess he got the hint from the state objecting there. He caught it. Then Ngomezulu asked him, can you narrow it? And Sereo said, my role in this case is too limited. It is limited to the verification of marks that I've seen through the microscope. I have a very limited scope in this matter. I did not attend the scene. I did not analyze the scene. I have no access to certain activities that happened during during their investigation of this matter. My role was just to verify whether the bullets, the test and the exhibit had common origin. That is all I did. The rest of the other things of this matter, I have no other knowledge. That is why I indicated that whatever I'll be commenting on with respect to the investigation of the scene or the processing of the scene, that will be based on pure speculation, because I've got no personal experience to those matters. I have never been to the scene. Whether we talk about the chain of custody from the scene, I did not steal the exhibits, or I did not steal the exhibits from the scene. The rest will just be speculation from my side. But what I can answer with certainty is that the microscopic verification I've conducted in this matter. Then Ngomezulu asked him, the question is, a firearm capable, is it capable of exchanging hands? And Sereo said in general terms, yes, it's possible, because it's possible. Firearms can move from one person to another. Ngomezulu then said, after a long time, he finally answers, yes, it's possible. Firearms can be exchanged from one person to another.
Yes.
After that long SA. Then Ngomezulu asked him, since you're working in that office, I want to find out if it has ever happened to you that you collect an exhibit from the police station without the case administration officer.
Then the cover-up started happening.
Or without being commanded or instructed by a commander. And Sereo said, what can I say is that, or what I can say is that in the past, it has also happened that we'll be transporting exhibits from the labs to the stations. I don't know who asked him about transportation of labs to the stations, especially when our storage safes were filled to capacity. This is a totally different scenario. Mangena did not go because the labs were filled to capacity. That is not his situation or the dilemma that he testified.
No, he did not go there to put that weapon there himself.
No. Like, why is he deflecting like this? Then Ngomezulu said that in the past, in the present, what is the position? And Sereo said currently it has not happened.
Simple answer. I've never done it.
He should have said that, but he didn't want to say that. It's almost like saying that will be giving Mangena to the wolves or something. It's like he didn't want to say it. Then Ngomezulu said, my question is particularly you. Have you ever collected the exhibit from the police station for the purpose of examination?
You know what I think? They should... I hope Nis is going to do it, which I think because of the time that he has bought, he's probably going to do it. The questions should be, how is your relationship with Mangen?
Yeah. They need to hammer on that because...
Yeah. So you have a long-standing relationship as people that have been working together
for a very long
for
time.
a very long time. Do you sometimes discuss these cases?
Do you verify all of his work?
Why I'm saying these questions? Because he's too evasive, so he needs to be opened up. And the only way to open up is to talk about that. And most probably he's going to say, the relationship is good, we are good. Do you sometimes even often talk outside work? Or even have done favors outside work for each other? Maybe one is a puncher or something of that nature. Just start there. Deal with that. You know what you are doing there, just don't seem like you're attacking their relationship, but attack it in a form of eventually drive it to the point of you can actually defend your friend, because if you guys are good colleagues, you defend each other, right? At any point in time when you need to defend each other, you defend each other. Then he's gonna start telling you about the work and the ethics and all those things, and then that's when you get him.
Well, Sereo said that from his side, he can recall that he collected objects for purposes of examining tool marks like pieces from doors so that they can be further processed in the lab. But yet he said he doesn't go to crime scene stuff. Abonake manje.
We're talking about the things that he used to carry, your pieces of doors and whatnot.
Well, then Gomezulu said, but in this case, I'm concerned about ammunition and the firearms. Have you ever? Sereo said, currently the circumstances have never dictated that I do that.
Simple answer. Just say, I have never. Guys, please like the video. Thank you, Sazelo.
And people are saying I shouldn't laugh. No, did you hear that answer?
A simple, straightforward answer. Just say, I have never. It's not a harm. And then you need to tell him why I'm asking you these questions that seems to be personal. The reason for that is because you sounded like a friend that is defending a friend. A simple question that required you to answer a simple yes or no. Have you ever taken a gun or an exhibit such as the gun
and collected at the police station
yourself? And if you have done so, if you say you have done so before, what was the procedure? How did you make sure that that gun was known, it was there? How did you follow the procedure of the ballistics admin? What happened? Tell us more what happened. Give us the answers other than what you are doing right now, because it seems to me you are literally covering up for your friend. That's what it seems like. Which there is no need, my lord. If that's what you are doing, there's no need for you to do that. I mean, you are answerable to the state more than anything. You're answerable to the society as a policeman, not your friend, not your colleagues. And then obviously there's gonna be objections, but attack that part. Just rub that salt a bit before we go ruffle the feathers, and then let us go to the nitty-gritties. Because a man like that is not smart. I know he would like to believe that he's smart because he answers whatever that he wants to answer, same as Ginindi. They are cut from the same cloth, if you ask me. But just do the right thing with them.
Well, because of that very vague answer, currently the circumstances have never dictated that I do that. We are just going to take that as a no.
You have to assume the answers.
Well, Gomezulu said, working from that office for the purpose of conducting cross-examination, are you permitted by any law or any standing orders to collect a firearm or an exhibit from a police station? And Sereo said, what I can say is that under normal circumstances, we do not. But they could be. I cannot rule out the circumstances that can be at play wherein the examiner may be forced or may be compelled to do it. What would be the follow-up?
Since you said at some point there are circumstances that would actually force you to do such things, what is the procedure if you have done such things?
We needed the procedure.
Ask on the procedure and that mean of the ballistic. How do you make sure that this is what is happening, it's recorded, and there is awareness of such?
Asked to give one example of such a circumstance, Sereo said that he cannot be able to give a list, but there are circumstances that may come into play that never existed before.
And he never gave even an example of such, which is a crap, if you ask me. That does not make sense. It's a lot of crap that you've just said without backing it up, because it has never happened, right? Such questions. The reason why you cannot even give me one,
because it's never happened.
Because it has never happened, right?
And even if it does happen, you don't know about it. Even if your colleagues do it, you are not aware that that's what they've been doing, especially with this case, for example.
Because it will be easier for you, sir, to tell me the scenario because you have seen it and be able to explain it, even attach an example on it. But because it has never happened, you are not able to give me a scenario.
This one wants Mshololo's teacher voice. Answer the question. Yes, Ms. Mshololo is going to have a field with this one. So Mgomezulu then said there's evidence by Mangena that he may instruct the IO to collect the particular exhibit from the owner or the company or business. In this case, where he collected the firearm from Cleveland, there was no need to inform the IO. And Sereo said, I cannot answer this question simply because I don't have access to all the circumstances that happened during that time.
What circumstances are you looking for in particular? Please explain to me, sir, so that I can try to give you as much as I can, because you want circumstances. I'm telling you that that's what Mangena said. Mangena said he went there to fetch the gun to test some more. And he found the gun unsealed. Is that what you are looking for? Will that help you? Will that assist you to assist us as an expert of the court? Unless, of course, you are not an expert, sir.
You would ruffle a little bit inside and make him want to respond. Well, a decision cannot be divorced or detached, he said, from the circumstances that existed at a particular time. So I don't know what happened during the particular time, as I have already said that my involvement in this matter is only in respect of verification of findings. So yeah, I don't know what manner of an answer this is. Eventually, Sereo said that the marks are subjective in nature based on their training. On any other factors that may influence the examiner, he said that he must limit himself to the knowledge and skill. One thing about Sereo, he will go to the bush before he answers a question. He will go to the bushes. He will go like
I think it's been is getting away with it because the defense is letting him, which at some point I understand.
The judge,
you
will
need
be like
no
the witness.
The judge, they've got the judge where they want him. They are literally showing him that they see everything that he does and they're noting it down. It's important. Those gestures, those things that he does, they're important to apply for reopening of this case as it is going to be closed, as these people are guilty and whatnot. It is important. They need to put that on record. I see you shaking your head, my lord.
I see you winking, my lord.
Yes.
Is there something wrong with your eye?
Yeah, they must bring these things just random. It's a very good, smart strategy that is done by Ramosepele. I think he's getting more, is at that level now of being a seasoned lawyer because of this case. He's now understanding what happens in that court and is really fighting against it in a very nice manner. No offense, nothing, just pushing it and putting it on record so that everyone gets it. When it's the time to appeal, everyone would see what the judge was doing. As we were cross-examining, the judge was shaking his head. And this is what he said when he was asked. Would you like
some eye drops for those eyes? You know, just put it there on the record. Yeah. Ngomezulu then asked him, a process where an examiner went to collect an exhibit from the police station, can that not necessitate a finding adverse to the positive outcome of the matching? And Sereo said that he cannot answer that question. So Ngomezulu asked him, so you cannot even tell the court whether the exhibits that were collected, especially the bullets, whether they are a full metal jacket or mixed with the complete metal jacket? And Sereo said that this he can tell because it won't be on speculation. It is based on what he has personally seen.
And yet he's, you know, the funny thing, he listened to that confident and then later he's not able to answer that question. I'm telling you.
Mgomezulu then said the ammunition that was collected by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena were they full metal jackets or complete metal jackets. Sereo said that he wanted to clarify his answer so that it is put in the correct context.
There you go.
He said, when I am referring to the things I have seen, I'm referring to bullets under the microscope. I'm not making any reference to ammunition that was collected by Mangena or any other person because I did not see that ammunition. What a quick turnaround.
And the tests are part of the exhibits that was collected by Mangena, right?
Yes.
From Rudolph's.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Gomezulu asked him, this court was told that if it's Colonel Rudolph's or Warrant Officer Rudolph's, when he conducted the test, he was using a full metal jacket. The question from an expert or an analyst like you, if he was conducting a test on a FMJ, he cannot use the complete metal jacket. Can he use the testing ammunition or bullets? Let me just be practical and say that if Rudolph's conducted the test on a full metal jacket, can further take complete metal jackets to do further tests. And then Sereo said that that will depend on the scope of what he's doing. If he's doing a comparison with another exhibit on the record and the exhibit is of a different material, he will have to fire more tests with the material that is as close as possible to the material on the exhibit. Even their procedure is very clear that you must use the material which is as close as possible to the exhibit. That is why they have a minimum threshold.
Yet you wouldn't happen to know what was the test that Rudolph was conducting. Was it a CMJ versus FMJ, right? I wouldn't expect you to know that, Mr. Sereo.
Akirwabana, that's how you add to the cross-examination. And then he said that the minimum is 2 test fires, but they don't have the maximum. So Mgomezulu then asked him, in your case, you reviewed or verified the work done by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena on bullet number 8 and bullet number 4. He said that the comparison he did was between exhibit bullet, which is marked with a lab number, and additionally A2 that was compared with test marked TB4 and TB8. So with regards to TB8, you said it was a full metal jacket, and Sereo said that was correct. TB4 was a complete metal jacket. So the test bullets that was used by Mangena was TB5 and TB9. And Sereo said, I hear that. Mgomezulu then said, which one was the full metal jacket between the two? And Sereo said he does not know. He cannot say with certainty because those tests were fired by Mangena. So your verification was only limited to 2 sets or set bullets.
Yet he's saying he tested everything.
Sereo said for verification purposes, he used test bullet 4 and test bullet 8. And then Mgomezulu asked him, but the examination by Mangena was not only related to test bullet 4 and test bullet 8. The further tests that were conducted by Mangena, your focus was mainly on test bullet 8 and test bullet 4. And Sereo said, what I can say is that when Mangena handed the tests and the exhibit to me, he gave me everything that is from test bullet 1, I think up to test bullet 10. And I had the opportunity to look through all of them from 1 up to 10. My apologies. I think I might not be accurate with the total number of the tests, my lord. But there were several tests which were no less than 8. Then Mgomezulu asked him, but my question is...
Just to answer you, sis, I'm sorry, Rudolph's used full metal jacket, FMJ, the ones that they say are difficult to imprint on to test.
Okay.
What could be even more interesting and draws this case wide open is what was he testing against? The bullets that were found on the scene, which in my opinion, I would almost be certain, 90% certain that it was CMJ because they are cheapest. No criminal can have FMJ bullets. And he was able to find a match.
Yes. Well, Mam Gomezulu said, but my question is, when I asked you about test bullet 5 and test bullet 9, you could not give me an answer whether they were full metal jackets when they were tested or not. And Sereo said that it is because he did not record what each and every test, each type of each and every test, because it is not required. But what he can say is that test bullet 4 is CMJ and test bullet 8 is FMJ.
Same as your friend, Mangena. Same as your friend, Mangena, who does not write the notes, but you've just said what to us you have you are given something to write on your notes, and you can even add when that question was asked. Same as your friend who went to the length of going out and finding different types of bullet producers, came back with them, never recorded them on how they are, which one I've tested 1, 2, 3, this type of bullets from this manufacturer. This is what I'm getting, the prints out. No, nothing like that. It is matching. We should eat it is matching all the time. Without even knowing these manufacturers that you are telling us that you were testifying about, that you went to find such bullets so that you can see the prints. But you don't record after that, after shooting. You just shoot as if it's one manufacturer, and then you do your own testing. Same as your friend.
Which is why I believe the speculation that I have that actually there could have been even up to 100 shots that were fired just to get what resembled a similar result to the bullet that is of the exhibit. That's just my speculation. Because why are they not writing everything down that they're doing? This is a science, right? With science, you write everything. The little bit of chemistry.
When they are asked about that, they are saying it.
Whenever you would mix something, you would write it down. Whatever you were pouring, you were writing down even the measurements of it.
So, but then they are saying, oh, it would be 21 pages if we were to write everything. No, we are talking about the things that you said you did. You said I went on to buy different kinds of bullets from different manufacturers. I brought them back. So when I test bullet CMJ from Kalapeng, I must shoot and write down this bullet comes from Kalapeng. This is what I'm finding. Right? A simple thing. Yes. If the tests were really done, in my opinion, properly, and if they were indeed done.
Well, Gomezulu says, so you did not have your diary to record whatever you were verifying. And Sereo said there's a minimum amount of information that is prescribed to the populated in the worksheets that they use. Then buy a notebook. And nobody restricting you to have a notebook. Why do people who work in the SAPS not want to write stuff down? If there are no boundaries, he said, or parameters, you will end up recording each and every detail to an extent where your case file can go up to 1,000 pages. Then so be it. So that you are able to testify effectively in court. Look at how your testimonies now are looking because you're not recording. Record.
It's a scrambled egg. That does not even mix, if you ask me. It is just incompetence working. You come here, we should trust your word just because you are a police.
How?
That's all we should use to trust your word. Same as everyone.
But who? Then Gomezulu asked him, you concluded that there was a positive match in relation to the test that we have verified, and your evidence is mainly about test bullet 4 and test bullet 8. And Sereo said, although I went through all the other tests, I decided to select test bullet 4 and test bullet 8 as they will represent the rest of the other tests because they have a common origin. They were all fired in a single firearm, so I'm entitled to select the representatives and use them for identification purposes.
How did you know they were fired from the same firearm? Because you tested all of them, but you also never tested all of them. How did you know they were fired from the same firearm? Or you just believed your friend?
Yeah, He said, his work is to test the bullets that he was given by his colleague. That's all. So Mgomezulu then said that was on the 23rd of July 2020, and Sereo said that was correct. Mgomezulu said that was 6 years after the incident, and he said that's correct. Mgomezulu then said, so these officers, I was told it was Filion, Fasir, and Intini. Are you aware that they also conducted verifications? And Sereo said that he was not aware. The court also ordered that they should be called as Section 186 witnesses. So in your answer, you're saying you are not aware if they also verified the work of Mangena. Sereo said he was not aware, as he did this verification independently by himself. So he's not aware if there's some other people who participated as well. And then Mgomezulu closed his cross-examination. And to my surprise, it took exactly 1 hour, this cross-examination. But it was effective. It gave us a little bit of extra information that we can think about. So after the short adjournment, Sipho Ramosepele for accused number 2 started with his cross-examination.
Let's like the video, guys. After the short adjournment, let's like the video. Please, let's push it to 300 as much as we can. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to become a member. Don't forget to comment. Those are things that don't forget to interact with those adverts. Don't forget. This is for the channel. This is for us. We are here every day, any day, raining, hot, cold, sleepy, up. We are here. We still have to drive to our respective places.
And Ramosepele started off by asking him that you were called or you were requested by Kena Mangena to do a peer review on this matter. And Sereo said that's correct. Now, before they went into depth regarding what he had done, Ramosepele said he wanted to give the background regarding his testimony. He said he wasn't going to dwell much because the evidence is off record. And he said, you were not here, I will give it to you. He said that he received 2 test fires from the exhibit to Colonel Mangena. A firearm, those test bullets TB1 and TB2 were fired by Warrant Officer Rolofse. Now, when he received the request to do a comparison examination on this matter, was to compare Exhibit F, which is the exhibit bullet in this case, with the 2 tests fired by Rolofse. And for one, contextual purposes, test bullet 1 and test bullet 2 are FMJ type bullets or ammunition. And according to the testimony of Kena Mangena, when he compared the exhibit bullets, exhibit F with test bullet 1 and 2, the FMJs, he observed that the FMJs did not impart sufficient marks. Therefore, as you correctly testified, he had to go and test fire bullets that are closely resembling the material used, the exhibit bullet.
Do you know why? For some weird reason, Mangena initially says, this is a joke, man. He says, I tested the FMJs. They were not giving proper prints.
Yes, that's what he said.
You know why these 2 FMJs are there?
Why?
Because that's how he gets to link this gun with FMJ to Rudolph's. Because Rudolph's was using FMJs to test. So remember, from that other case,
yes,
they don't have an exhibit there. That's my assumption. They don't have the exhibit from the scene, right? So they are using the test that Rudolph's made to make a match. It's like a transivit. Because Rudolph's made a match to that bullet and the match was positive, then they are using Rudolph's test to make a match with a gun to make sure that this is the same gun. That's why the so-called FMJ. In my opinion, I don't think they're even. But then the FMJs are there for that reason. Unfortunately, on the report when they write now, this one, Sereo, picks and choose any bullet, and then it fell. This TB8 fell under FMJ. Hence, I doubt that there was even a test.
That was done.
I doubt.
Because one thing is for sure, it had to match.
Because Mangena had to explain why he had to go fetch the gun again. He would say because of FMJ.
So Ramosepele then said in that regard, he then went to shoot 8 tests, which are TB3 to TB10. And from those 8 test fires, 2 were PNP make FMJs, and the 2 CMJ type fire bullets were of manufacturer A&G. The further 2 CMJs were of 6-hour manufacturer, and the last 2 were of a make that he never recorded, and at the time he testified he could not recall those last 2. Also, for contextual purposes, he said that he fired all those tests successfully, randomly, without noting which one was an FMJ, which one was a CMJ, and among the CMJs, without noting if this one was a 6-hour or an unknown make. Then he asked him that in your lab, regarding the processes and procedures, is there a particular worksheet that directs you what to complete as you do your examination, comparison, and the like? Sereo said that there is a worksheet that you complete. And Ramosepele asked, can you elaborate on that? And Sereo said the worksheet, each and every examination type that they conduct, there will be worksheets associated with that kind of type of examination. So the worksheets are designed for recording what the examiner discovers during their examination process. And besides the worksheet, say for example, there's information further, you've done several tests and there's incomplete space to record your workings, are you required to have a notation or record of any document further? And Sereo said, yeah, the worksheet is precisely meant for notes. And then Ramosepele asked him, now back to the subject matter of your peer review, you are then given, let's say Colonel Mangena says he gave you all the test fires for you to compare. And you see the dilemma is this. That's why I'm asking about the worksheet, because among those 10 fires, 4 of them were FMJ. That will be the 2 FMJs by Colonel Mangena, the 2 FMJs by Warrant Officer Rolofse. Now the point is this. I've given you the context of Colonel Mangena to say FMJs did not impart sufficient individual marks for me to make an identification that that's a positive match. And Sereo said, yes, I hear that. Ramosepele then said, now in that context, let us jump into the aspect, because I'm going to be up and down, so bear with me. The AFD has got a theory of identification, and they also have got what they call FT range of conclusions. And what are the range of conclusions that we can reach as ballistic experts after our examination? Sereo said that it is an identification that we normally call positive. It is an inconclusive result. We have an elimination that we commonly call or refer to as negative.
Yes.
Ramosepele then asked him.
And then,
so you are on the after.
Yes, I'm there. Yes, Ramosepele did his homework here. It's actually 4 categories that are accepted for all types of tool mark comparisons. It's identification, which is normally said to be positive, and then inconclusive, then elimination, which is what I think they use to eliminate Chico's gun.
Okay.
And then the unsuitable for comparison, in this case, then they are looking at what is unsuitable as that bullet that was apparently damaged beyond, which is what Sereo left out. He only mentioned 3.
Well, then Ramosepele said, and for argument's sake, and correct me again if I'm wrong, I'm not a ballistic expert. There may be a fourth one that is suitable for comparison where the bullet projectile is so damaged that we cannot even put it under a microscope. Is that correct? And Sereo said that's correct. That one refers to when the bullet cannot be used or the specimen cannot be used for comparison purposes because of damage. Ramosepele said, and I was going through the literature on this aspect. It says also with inconclusive finding, there are 3 categories under inconclusive. Are you aware of these categories? Sereo said he was aware of them, and they asked him to elaborate on those 3 subcategories of inclusive in brief. And Sereo said that the first one is called the positive inconclusive, is where in that case there is an agreement of class characteristics and some measure of agreement of individual characteristics, but not sufficient enough to make a positive identification. Number 2, there's a negative inconclusive. In the case all class characteristics agree with some measure of differences. It's an inconclusive which is leaning slightly towards elimination. The first one that he explained is an inconclusive which is slightly leaning towards an inconclusion. So then there's an inconclusive result where all 3 class characters agree, and he said that this type of inconclusive result is not leaning either to the left or right. In simple terms, it means that he doesn't know, because you cannot determine whether or not a specific bullet was fired by a specific firearm without any inclination towards the positive side or negative side. Now, given those range of conclusions, Ramosepele asked, would I be correct that especially let's focus on the 2 inclusive elimination regarding the inconclusive finding, respective of the subcategory, that inconclusive finding is a standalone finding? And Sereo said yes. In terms of their procedure, operational procedure, they have only one inconclusive finding. Then Ramosepele asked, and that at the essence of that is to say, with inconclusive, the essence of inconclusive is that you cannot say, for example, this case I don't watch or I don't fetch examples are far-fetched, then I'm lost in translation pertaining to this case. If an examiner says exhibit F, which is the firearm, and exhibit bullet in this case, I cannot determine either way whether this bullet was fired from the firearm, then that will be an inconclusive finding. And Sereo said that's correct. Then Ramosepele said, let me take it further with that inconclusive finding. I then produce a report that will be sent back to the investigating officer of the case. The investigating officer to say, this is my finding. It is inconclusive because I've looked at the bullet compared to the test. And yes, the class characteristics are discernible. They are there. And there is some agreement of individual characteristics, but they are not sufficient for me to make a finding. That is a match, correct? And Sereo said, yeah. All reports, whether positive, negative, inconclusive, must be sent to the investigating officer. Ramosepele then said, now in the context of what I described to you with the work that Colonel Mangena did when he said he compared Rulof's test bullet 1 and test bullet 2 with exhibit F, I could not determine on the marks imparted on test bullet 1 and test bullet 2 that there were sufficient marks for an identification by procedure. And what you've just explained now, you were supposed to make a report of it in inconclusive finding. Is that correct? Well, I saw the judge kind of whispering here, you know, you know, when an elderly person, like they start like as if they are complaining internally, but it's showing physically, yabo. So they gave me that vibe that if I got it, you know.
Let me tell you, this is big, and I'm hoping that the defense is gonna stay on it.
Okay.
Maybe people are not understanding what
Ramosepele
Ramosepele was
did.
doing. So Ramosepele is simply saying that there is a finding that Mangena on the very same gun was not able to say, was in a position of saying the results were inconclusive, not sufficient enough for him to make a finding. But under that inconclusive, under FTE, a range of conclusions, an inconclusive result is also categorized into 3 outcome comparison in which you can look at. For example, if the cooking allegedly was made with a bit of intelligence, and I'm not undermining anyone here, I'm just saying a bit of intelligence. Let's say there was a cooking and the cooking was made with a bit of intelligence, you would have said the results are inconclusive. Some agreements of individual characteristics and all discernible class characteristics, but are insufficient for identification. So that would warranty you to go and fetch that gun and do more testings. Do you understand? Because you would have made an inconclusive that is leaning towards positivity. To say, I could have find something here, but I couldn't because of the imprinting and whatsoever that now you are explaining. Hence, I had to go and take the gun again after writing that report and do something again. Do you understand?
Yes.
But because whatever that was done, in my opinion, was done in a rush, no procedure was followed. They just said inconclusive. And then it sounds like someone sat down and said, but yeah, I see. You can take the gun, take it back to the administrator of these guns. Let me think about something. What could be the problem? Because I need to find this thing positive. Oh, okay, I need to go fetch it. If you wrote a report, that going and fetching it, however you did it, would be warranted. If there was a report that says the reason why I had to go fetch this gun is because there was some agreement of individual characteristics, but all discernible class characteristics, but insufficient for identification. But there was a bit of positivity. This was leaning towards, my lord, leaning towards the positive identification. Hence, I had to go fetch that gun. You know? That is the reason you would put in your conclusion. But
hence, they don't write anything down.
You don't write anything. You don't write any report. You say inconclusive, then you go and fetch the gun.
Then you wait for a day in court.
You come back and you say, this is what happened. Listen, what happened is 1, 2, 3. There is no report of inconclusive. So inconclusive gives you time to actually say, let me digest these results. Then I feel like they are leaning towards the positive side, or I feel like they are leaning more towards the negative side, which is an agreement of all discernible class characteristics without agreement or disagreement of individual characteristics due to an absent or insufficient or lack of reproductivity. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But no. We're just going to say it was inconclusive. We gave the gun away. They took it back. And then we went to fetch it.
Yeah.
We're going to say we couldn't put it in our safety. Because whatever reason, God knows why.
Yeah, ne? So, yeah, it seems like the judge was also like, in another world, in my opinion, because he was asking Ramosepele to whom, and Ramosepele responded by saying that I say Mangena, I'm saying rule of say. Mangena says I made a comparison between test bullet 1 and test bullet 2 with exhibit F. I did not say rule of say because rule of say only did the test fires. So Sereo then said He thinks that this is an oversimplification of the matter. It does not operate like that. Analysts are trained. That is why the training is specific and specialized. They are trained to be able to discern or identify specific features on specimen under examination and make certain conclusions or decisions based on what they see.
But
if an expert examines a specimen and realizes that on the specimen there's a problem of transferability or reproducibility, the analyst is entitled to fire additional tests as the features on the specimen he has observed under the microscope has revealed to him that this is a possible firearm.
Okay. So, but I'm just going to start with you. Did the defense prove that the bullet was not planted? No. They haven't. And then coming to Sia he said there are marks but not enough for him to agree with the rule of, hence he wanted to fetch it and do some tests with different marks. Now, a normal seasoned expert who has worked for 30 years would have known that inconclusive has 3 outcomes. And you would have written them as such. I remember when we used to interpret in statistics, you would either say, there was a weight that you would always put when you are looking at your parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Are your parameters significant or not? In interpreting whatever that you need to interpret on the basis of whether it's a model that looks to explain whatever that is happening in the economy, you would include that answer at the end. Yes. But the first thing that you would say is that the variable is significant.
Mm.
Then you would say whether it's positive or negatively affecting your model, and then you'd put it according to whatever theory that is put there. That's what you used to do. A simple way of writing a report. Because when someone who's going to come and we're not talking about a newcomer here.
30 years.
So you can't say they were prints, but I could not see them. You are contradicting yourself. You are saying it did not mark, and you are saying, and then you want us to take that and eat it up. Someone who's a lawyer was able to find this thing. The theory that should always be playing in your head.
Mm.
I mean, it can't be that you just write a report inconclusive.
Ramosepele said Mangena fired additional tests on test bullet 3 to 10 because one of the reasons is that he was looking for CMJs because exhibit bullet is CMJ. But the second reason is that the nature of the firearm itself, the barrel was worn out, so impartations or reproducibility of marks is not consistent. He said he's not sure how your standards operate because he was going to throw these questions for clarification purposes regarding the peer review. So he asked Sereo, when you are given a case to peer review, does he also tell you information like part of the reason is that the barrel was worn out, for example, that's why I did not have sufficient marks, or he just gives you a blind peer review and you are not told anything? Sereo said that he didn't give him the details of the case. And Ramosepele was like, I'm not referring to the merits of the case, I'm referring specifically to a ballistic tool mark that he used. Did he tell you that the barrel was worn out? And Sereo said he never gave me such information. So Ramosepele then said your testimony is that you compare the exhibit bullets with all the test fires 1 to 10. Is that my understanding? And Sereo said that they examined all the test bullets that were given to him, including the exhibit. And Ramosepele said, and for you, as you have gone through all these test fires, you make a determination that test bullet 4 and 8 give you the best possible marks. What I can make a comparison with the exhibit bullet. And Sereo said, yeah, it was just a quick run through all the tests, and eventually he decided to use test bullet 4 and 8 for thorough analysis. Ramosepele then said, when you say you made a quick run through all of them, then you preferred 4 and 8. What does that pre-quick run entail? And Sereo said that it was just to familiarize himself with the general appearance of the marks and the system of rifling on the test. And at the time you were given this, did Colonel Mangena tell you he made a positive match? And Sereo said, no, he did not tell me that. Ramosepele then asked him, now you make your own comparison, focusing now on test bullet 4 and 8. If I understood your evidence in chief yesterday, you studied first the methodology or the methods that you used. You described yesterday, which are pattern matching and consecutive matching striation from the charts that you prepared. Test bullet 8. The charts you use the line counting method, which the line count method is CMS. But Sereo said, just to be very clear on the approach, I followed the pattern matching method. With the pattern matching method, you are also able to identify both striations and the impression marks. As I've already indicated, that the two methods are not mutually exclusive, or they are not in opposition to each other. But the current situation is that we use pattern matching at Ballistics, South Africa. So it's official. Yesterday he couldn't quite say it. They use pattern matching in the ballistic labs of South Africa. Yes, it's engine. But we move. Why don't they want to evolve? I do not know. But it will not be incorrect if one uses CMS, because they both subscribe to the theory of identification. So Ramosepele then said, I agree with you that you can start by using pattern matching. And if you see the patterns and they are reproducible, then you can go to the line counting, which is CMS. So I'm not faulting you on that aspect. And don't take it like I'm faulting you. When we talk about pattern matching, remember, Lieutenant Colonel, I'm asking questions about the learning or learning from you as well. Some of the questions, take it like I'm a lane person when it comes to ballistics and comparisons and the like with regard to pattern matching. What we are essentially dealing with is a no-none match, or are we dealing with both non-matches? Sereo said the concept of a no-none match or no-none match is embodied in the theory of identification. It's not something that can be associated with a pattern match only or CMS. It comes from the theory of identification, where both people from CMS and pattern matching subscribe to. So for the sake of my understanding, Ramosepele said, I've gone through this or some literature. He said that he also consulted with their expert, Mr. Peterse, and this concept of no-none match still beats him. And he asked him, can you thresh it out for us so that we understand? And then maybe we can move on to other things. Sereo said no-none match is when the examiner compares the tool marks that he knows that were produced by two different tools. Those tools can be firearms or anything, and he deliberately compares them with each other with the aim of seeking similarities which may exist between the two. So this is what a known match or a non-known match is based on. It is because even in the marks produced by two different tools, there might be a very small degree of correspondence between those two marks, but the degree of similarity must outweigh those differences. Actually, he said he wanted to say tool marks that were produced by the same firearm, the degree of correspondence will outweigh the differences. And in tool marks that were produced that are known to have been produced by two different tools, that similarity that exists in them when they are compared with each other will be outweighed by far by the differences that exist. So the concept of a non-match, as it is coming directly from the FT theory, identification, it says, for sufficient agreement to be attained, the similarities that exist must must out exceed the similarities that are found in the best known non-match. In simple terms, a non-match is actually a false positive, but he said that he's just putting it in simple terms. The marks appear to be similar to create an impression as if the two marks are having a common origin, although it is not the case when the whole exhibit is examined around its whole circumference. So those agreements will actually show that they are in the minority, so that what's best known means. And in the theory of identification, the word best known non-match is not used, but there are words or phrases which are equivalent of that word. And he said that if he were to read from the FT theory of identification, it says agreement is significant when the agreement in individual characteristics exceed the best agreement demonstrated between tool marks known to have been produced by different tools. So he went on and on and on, you guys, explaining, and I was like, yo, this man.
This case, I think the defense, they probably might have slept on something here.
Which is?
During Mangena's cross-examination, let me take you to the steps, the preliminary steps that needs to happen.
Okay.
That bullet, I saw them. They were surprised by when they were seeing that bullet, the so-called evidence. They did not follow certain things here. Number one, they need to complete the administrative requirements, which is a chain of custody, marking of evidence as they've done, the laboratory case identifiers, investigative file identifier, examiner's identity, and then quality assurance. That is following the laboratory safety protocols. When this guy decided to go and fetch this, he is not answering whether he followed with these theories that are put here, the laboratory safety protocols, when he went to fetch an open exhibit. And this is something that is there on this theory. And then the other thing that they have not done is to determining the presence of trace of evidence and following the laboratory protocol for collection, which Mangena did not do, right? Eventually. And then the trace evidence, I don't remember it being presented in that court. How did they know that bullet was in the house? Is it through a paint of the house? A glass? Was it through blood, bone, soft tissues? How did they know that that bullet is actually coming from that house?
The testing of the bullet itself.
Because now they are fighting the bullet. They are fighting the bullet. But what did the bullet have that showed that it comes from that house? But it's something that is water under the bridge. Because
no, I hope they look into it, because it's important. For all we know, it could have been.
If they are claiming that the bullet was planted, they should have argued along those lines to say the bullet does not have any proof that it comes from that house. Or if the bullet does not have any proof that it is the one that shot the accused. They did not prove that. No blood, nothing. What did you use to see that this bullet is the one that
went through the deceased?
They were right in claiming that the bullet was planted, but they didn't raise enough coins that are supposed to be followed. These are things that I would have assumed they should have, considering Mangena was coming for the second time.
So then Ramosepele said that his understanding of a peer review is that you're reviewing the work, the actual work that Kena Mangena did, that you're only reviewing test bullet 5 and 9 to see whether you can find the same things or the same marks that he found, so that you can confirm test bullet 5 and 9. And in your answer to Mr. Mgomezulu, you said that you had access to 10 test files, but your preference was for test bullet 5 because those are representative specimen and they are fired from the same firearm, correct? And Sereo said yes, because all the test fires are fired from the same firearm.
No, man. And I hear people are saying that they did. Guys, I'm telling you, if you go to these procedures, you would find that the bullet, before it even went to testing, they were supposed to determine if there were latent fingerprints on it.
Yes, like any material at all, they were supposed to be tested for that specifically.
This
any
says
DNA,
determine
any
if
material.
determine if there's latent fingerprint. Examination should be performed prior to tool mark being examined. Before they even start. Yes, now it is.
This reminds me of some case that I saw about contamination of evidence, and it's a serious big deal. When evidence has been contaminated, there's no way you can carry on as business as usual. So they have to find out that bullet, what material it has. Because if they are claiming that it was planted there, then how come it does not have any, or it needs to be tested whether there is anything that can relate
part.
it?
They did not look at that part. They needed to look at that part and argue along those lines to say this bullet was planted. No fingerprints of our people is in that bullet. Nothing at all. All we have is that this gun was allegedly owned by one of our clients. That's it. Is that what is required for these people to get arrested? No fingerprint. Nothing is putting these people in the house. Nothing is even putting this gun in that house, because even the bullet does not have the so-called bullet that is supposedly the state's only thing that is they are relying on. Does not have any proof.
So Sereo said yes, because all the tests are fired from the same firearm and he can use the representative sample. So Ramosepele noticed that judge was shaking his head, and I was thinking maybe he's holding his tongue from being irritable or bored or something, Sereo's answers are quite long, and there are essays and paragraphs after paragraphs. So Ramosepele said, "My lord, through the corner of my eye, when I was asking the question, I saw my lord shaking his head. I'm not sure whether he was agreeing or disagreeing." And the judge said, "I'm saying he's basically choosing 4 and 8 to the exclusion of the other fired bullets, when his evidence is that he tested all under the microscope, all the fired bullets by Mangena. Is that not so?" And Sereo said, "That's correct." Well, then the judge said, "That's how I understand English. And now you say he prefers." Well, Ramosepele said, "No, that was not even my question. I say peer review, and I'm going to repeat it without fear of favor and prejudice. A peer review is when somebody says, 'Peer review this for me.' He's actually referring to the actual work that he has done. In this instance, Mangena confirmed positive matches on 5 and 9. And my question to you is, so the basis of my question is this. You may disagree that my understanding was that he will give you test bullet 5 and 9 for you to say, here's my peer review, or peer review this for me, and see what you can come up with without telling you that I have made it a positive. I've made it somehow, so that you are reviewing the same work that he did, and I'll tell you where the problem lies after this. Well, Sereo said we must first agree that all those tests were fired in a single firearm. And as I said before, that the verifier of findings does not redo the work. The verifier of findings can take any test and test all of them or anyone because all of them were fired in a single firearm. It's not a case where we can say test bullet 4 is coming from test bullet 8, is coming from firearm B. All those samples have a common origin, and that is why I'm using the word representative. Test bullet 4 represents the rest of them, test bullet 8 and test bullet 5, and so that test bullet 9, because all of them were fired by the same firearm, and it is known because they were fired as tests. So Ramosepele then said, I'm 100% on the same page with you. I'm not faulting you anyhow. Now the dilemma, and maybe you may unravel it, we may find that it's not a dilemma. Colonel Mangena says test bullet 8 is an FMJ, and previously in his comparison, he had made that inconclusive. Now you come, you do your own independent peer review, then the very same FMJ that Mangena says he couldn't make it and made it inconclusive, you make it an inclusion. And then Sereo said, what I can say is that when the bullets are fired from the firearm, the material of those bullets also play a role, as some materials are harder than the others and others are softer than others. It's not only about the material of the exhibit, there are also other variables that come into play. Even if we have a 9mm bullet coming from different manufacturers, the other one might be slightly oversized, and that is a concept that is well known in ballistics. Both of them are 9mm and the other one is oversized, but in terms of micromillimeters, you may find another bullet which is undersized. It's also a 9mm because it falls within the specifications and the range from the minimum to the maximum. So when the bullet is between that, still a 9mm, and the other variable could be the wear and tear on the barrel interior, or sometimes just the nature of the design of the rifling. So those variables will affect or will have an influence on the transfer of marks from the interior of the barrel to the bullet itself. That is why the examiner is allowed to fire several tests. If the bullets did not get sufficient transfer of marks and the bullet 10 received sufficient transfer, we cannot write a report. Or we cannot write 2 reports and say bullet number 1 is inconclusive with the firearm and another report say the bullet number 10 is positive with the firearm, while we know that the bullet number 1 and bullet number 10 have a common origin. So that in the essence of firing several shots, some features which are visible on grove number 1, test number 1, will not be visible on grove number 1 of test number 10. So test number 10 might have certain features on grove number 1, 3, for example, that were not transferred sufficiently to grove number 3 of test number 1. So the examiner is allowed to take the sample which is having the best, or alternatively the sample that is able to be sufficiently on it. So yeah, that was a mouthful. Even Ramosepele said it. And he said that they can continue after the long adjournment. But then after the long adjournment, they went through the concept of the slippage. The slippage there, trying to explain it. And Ramosepele said, must the top bullet bottom also align with when you're doing the comparison? And Sereo said that the marks within that must align, as he has already explained, taking into account the special relationship between the marks and the general appearance of the contour surface. In the event of a slippage, the bottom of the groove can sometimes not be aligned perfectly with the bottom of another groove. That is not an understandable phenomenon. And Ramosepele said, now in this instance, talking about slippage marks or skid marks, did you observe any skid or slippage marks? And Sereo said he did observe some slippage marks. And from the depicted photograph, because now they were showing him pictures there in court, and did it show slippage? And Sereo said from the bottom of this groove, there's a line which is running, which is making an angle, which is in the bottom of the groove. Then he showed the line that showed the slippage. He went the extra mile because I don't think even Mangena showed slippages. Did Mangena show a slippage on the diagram of the chart?
No.
He went the extra mile. And then Ramosepele said after you completed your peer review, you then mark on a microchart your findings, and then you sign there and you return it to the original examiner. Would I be correct? Sereo said, on conclusion of the verification process, not the chart is compiled, the worksheet is completed, which I completed, and it must be fixed to the case file. So Ramosepele said, now that you've done that, you've also said to Kena Mangena, I do agree with your findings. I've looked at test bullet 4 and test bullet 8, and indeed I came to the same conclusion as you. Have you had a case where after you've done that, you did the examiner goes to a third and fourth and second and fifth analyst to peer review the same test? Sereo said that in general, what happens is that the examiner sent his work to another competent examiner to verify his findings. When they differ in their findings, he does not simply leave the examiner and go to another examiner. The examiner who's differing with the original examiner must show him exactly what he has seen under the microscope. So it means there must be a conversation in that regard, because you must state why you differ. And in most cases, when that happens, it would become clear to the original examiner that he has missed it. And if he has missed it, to see something, because verification is not the addition of marks that were not there. You are talking about marks which are permanently on the surface of the exhibit. And if you miss to see a particular mark, maybe because of a wrong technique, the other examiner may adjust the lighting and so on, and he be able to show him. In most cases, this will not go too far, because it demands that the second verifier shows the original examiner what he has seen. So this is like a conversation. We can negotiate. Comrade, you know, these markings that you're seeing are not the markings that I'm seeing. Can we talk about it? Can we? So it's a conversation. And then what happens after the conversation? And what if the one who's wrong overpowers you, the one that is right? How do you record this process? What is going on with the ballistics there? I don't understand. So then Ramosepele said, okay, but in this instance, like, you have verified Kena Mangena's findings and you have agreed with him. There's not a difference whereby now he needs to go see Fesser, Felion, and Tina. You agreed with him, and the other people that came thereafter. I don't know whether it was before you or after you, but he's told this court that 4 people verified his findings, and among them it's you. Well, Balo stood to object on this point, and he said that he doesn't think they said verified. They said they agreed with him. Haibo, didn't they say verify?
Because they don't have the statements of those people.
Then Ramosepele said, are we playing linguistics now? Because I agree with something I didn't verify, and the judge said it's an argument now. What is the situation now? Mr. Baloy said they agreed. They did not verify, like the kennel here. Ramosepele then said, let's park it, and my lord has made an order in terms of section 186. Akiri, he summoned them to come. He subpoenaed them, right? So Ramosepele,
he shot himself on the foot, actually, the judge.
No wonder
Baloy is
so
realizing that these people don't have affidavits. So he's going to need to come with new evidence.
So he has to convince them to write affidavits that are new.
Yes.
Well, then, yeah, he complimented Sereo or Ramosepele at the end of his cross-examination, saying that he was articulate and all of that. He's learned better from him than, I don't know. I'm more confused than I was when Mangena testified, but that's Ramosepele.
No, but he was not supposed to do that.
Why did he do it, though?
I don't think he was supposed to do it, but I think this fairness thing still creeps in with Ramosepele. Let's come to this.
And Malo packed his cross-examination. He said he had other arrangements for today, and then Malo asked to start afresh in the
Well, let's come to Siasonke, saying the thing is they want to blame Ginindi for everything, including the bullet, although he's MEW. How come Ginindi will force the bullet to match. Hey, I would tell you one thing.
Sorry about that.
You always do that. I will tell you one thing. Just go watch Kreger's case.
Oh, it's long though.
No, because you see, the problem is
Yeah,
that
that case is long, but yeah, it's important.
it's very important.
Oh, scroll to the part where
It's very important. We see what the defense they was doing. Unlike in our case here, that was a robust situation. But there are common things that we find in this case that were found in Kreger's case. And maybe many more other cases. Maybe other people that do not have a voice. So my way of looking at this, where the defense might have let it slide, it's not to exonerate anyone. I'm not exonerating anyone. I'm not saying anyone is not capable of doing all those things that the Bondans were saying. No, I'm not saying that. I must not be misquoted. I don't believe anything about this case. I do not. It's just out of line. What police can do to find you in jail, it's beyond you. In South Africa, there is a bit of laziness to work. I even prefer someone who goes head to head with the criminals and take them there on the scene than someone who uses the so-called law to find you in a cell, kill you while you are alive.
a police officer who studied law.
Do you
Red
understand?
Flag.
Red flag those people.
Red flag.
In fact, the fact that they have time to study law it's a fact it's a
there's
problem.
Not enough working. That is
It's a problem. When they are given work, they just want shortcuts, in my opinion. Alleged.
Red flag.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying to like.
We talk, we interact with these people, guys.
They're learning how to navigate.
I
the
interact
system.
with these people a lot. We talk. Police generally, you interact with them. They've got even friends. These people who can say things. Abruptly.
Once you're done with your law degree, leave the police profession, join the legal profession. Why you don't join the legal profession, still being in the SAPS with a law degree?
You're busy arguing in court as if you're trying to practice your locuzan.
Konje Mjiako was also a captain, allegedly, in the SAPS.
There's something wrong.
And
with
he
that
had
thing.
a law degree by then. He had it. He was just not practicing.
There's something wrong with this thing. Something very, very, very wrong, in my opinion. So, what the police are capable of doing, you will find out maybe later. There is still people who are coming. But I can tell you this. From the people that will come and testify, or from the people that were put on the list, most probably there is someone that the defense feels confident is going to come and flip. Just going to say that. That's
then
in my...
They need to leave them alone.
That's my opinion. My worry is that they seem to keep on dangling that person there. And if what I'm thinking is correct, I don't think they should be dangling the person. They should be sounding neutral when it comes to this person. Because the more they ask about this person, the more they isolate this person. And the more it's easy to identify the person, in my opinion.
I'm even afraid to ask who is that person. I am so afraid.
I won't even, because I also don't know. I'm just saying, I feel like there is someone who has said something different from what, and that person probably was at the scene.
I will wait and see. Patience is a virtue with this case. We will soldier on.
So yeah, guys, just 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes. Let's get 4 calls and then I'm done for the day. Let's hear what you guys are saying. If there's someone who wants to say something. Right.
Is coming to the aid of the.
All right. I think, guys, because in any case there's no one who's saying anything, let me just read. Tyler, thank you very much for being with us.
Tyler.
Dudu J, thank you for being with us. Masarami, thank you for being with us. Yes, I saw something like the hearts give you the likes. Ish, I know. I don't know what the hearts are doing here. Do you even know what the hearts are doing? I think it's
They're
for
showing
liking. Love. Yeah.
They're showing love.
Nothing more, nothing much to that. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Emily, kunjani?
Siyaphila mfethu
Siyaphila
njani?
njani?
Ngiyaphila.
Mm.
I'm sorry, man. I thought advocate Nxumalo uyibuzile le DNA. Ayinamuntu i-confirmed. Ijaji yayi-cover up. And advocate Mnisi, all defense, they were shocked when they saw that bullet. I support your statement. They only saw that bullet kuSerelo. Lo before yena azange eze nayo la bullet, only ebephethe yena i-firearm. I-bullet ivele only noSerelo. And the defense, they were so shocked babeyibona ngokule bullet bebeloke bethetha ngayo, zange bayibona. So you were right.
Yeah, I think
And
I saw that.
that information, the judge even itself, he hid it on purpose. Because Nxumalo asked about even the DNA. Ayizange ibe namntu uthe nje lo expert wabo lo wathi yena udilishana nokutesta i-firearm ne-bullet. Kwabuza i-DNA, wabona ukuthi i-DNA ayikho kwi-field yakhe. Yayishava phansi kwetafula ijaji la DNA, asabe isavela yaqhubeka.
Then they should make it part of top arguments that they should make on their submission.
Yes. So i-defense ibike yathi ukusaba kancane ukuya direct. Only now it get more spirit. I believe the senior advocate like Obo Dalimpof, since bebonile kuleya case, a court, they stand firm. So they try now. Even today, you can even see, but on yesterday, you could know Nabongo, they try to be strong because they see the judge. Even the problem we have now, this ballistic evidence, the judge even himself is get lost. I support the family when they said he was already wrote his judgment, but the case took another direction. Otherwise, I'm very happy the way those people, they must leave this Emily alone because 4 months down the line, she was almost crying. They were said nothing. But now, because it's happy, it's laughing, they have a problem with that. Why only now?
Why
but when he was crying, no one was said, sorry, ma'am, everything is going to be okay. Yes, you feel it's very difficult. I'm trying to say, be strong, guys. I know you are a genius.
Thank you.
You know exactly. Thank you very much, guys. I'm here in Cape Town. I feel that pain. I'm from there. I know. I experienced that from me.
Yes.
From me.
Yes.
It's not a hearsay. It was happened to me. I have to sit in jail for 7 years. I know that thing. Someone who don't know
will
can
not
say,
understand.
oh, even now I wasn't even one of the guys going to school. I run the taxis now. I do the other businesses because of the reputation. I have a criminal record because of something even I was never even committed. I even don't know. But I was sitting in jail. So I have to start my life fresh. When you do analyzing this case, at times the other people, they crying. My father, he was passed away because he never understand how I'm going to jail, but I was in jail. He got a heart attack. Mind you, I'm a firstborn.
I'm so
man.
sorry.
Keep the hard job, guys.
Thank you.
Even now, I'm just watching.
Thank you.
And when he feel to laugh, he must laugh because these things, our state are very cruel. I've noticed something to you. You're very skeptical. You know those guys. When they came to you, they came like a train. Otherwise, keep it there. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
You see, guys, this is part of the reason why we do what we do. I don't know what keeps pushing.
Yeah, so guys,
there's too many of these happening to people.
Just to say, guys, if you are rude on the comments, we have moderators, guys. They can just put you off. That's what should happen. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Anno? How are you, Emily?
We're good.
Doing great.
You?
Volume.
I just want... You can't hear me?
We can hear the volume at the back of your... I think there's something that is playing. We can hear ourselves.
Can you?
Yeah.
Nothing's playing. I've actually turned you off.
Okay.
Oh, is it an echo? Okay.
Maybe it's an echo. Actually, let me get you off speaker so that... is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, how are you guys going?
We're good.
Look, guys, it's T Brown Skin. I just wanted to firstly thank you for an amazing show as always.
Yes, thank you.
And I wanted to keep encouraging you, especially Sis Emily, to keep doing what you're doing and tell everyone to leave you alone. Or we like your laughter. We enjoy it. Some of us are here for it. So, yeah, we need that positive energy to keep going because this is a very draining case, I think. So we need the laughter to keep going.
It is draining. Oh.
Yeah. And I also wanted to actually shout out the previous caller and thank him for sharing his experience. I think it just highlights the importance of doing what you're doing, talking about these cases. Because I think a lot of people don't see how there's actually 5 people whose life is at stake at this stage. You know, there are 5 people that are fighting for their lives right now. And this is not a joke. We might come here, we might laugh and, you know, comment, but there's actually people and families that are, that this case is really significant and important for them. So I think we need to appreciate that.
Yes.
So caller, thank you for sharing your story. That was actually a really empowering thing and actually a good reminder for us that, you know, it's important to do these things and to support channels like this that talk about the real experiences of people. So yeah, I think, that really touched my heart. So sending caller hugs.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anyway, thank you guys for a good show and all the best with everything. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you.
Right. While we wait for you, we will continue to call you. Laura, thank you very much, member, for joining us again. Patra Mtetwa, thank you very much for joining us again. Mpumelelo Dlamini, thank you. Snesbi Astelo Mloi, thank you. Paleng, thank you. Sikhameti, thank you. Archie, thank you. Chiliza, thank you. Nonkosi Masha, thank you. Mamelo Skunana, thank you, our member. Hositile, thank you. Blessing Mabena, thank you. Piwe Ingwane, thank you. Maletsana Ngala, thank you. Babalo Pakeli, thank you. Mami, thank you. We appreciate you. Bees Works 10, thank you. Tami Kuzwayo, thank you. Mtokozi Slanga, thank you. Tlanta yetu. Thank you very much. Fiso Sindane, tonight I saw you said night, and thank you for joining us. Vusutando, thank you very much for joining us. Ignatia Jimenez. Thank you. I hope I called your surname properly. Refilwe, thank you very much for being with us. Melody Ndlovu, thank you for joining us again. Sizwe 18. Thank you for being with us all the time, man. Thank you for becoming part of us. Tsidi Anamo Happy, thank you, our member. Nomcebo Kamile Dlangamanda, thank you very much for joining us. Lindiwe, thank you very much for joining us. Tapiwa Shendelaine, thank you for joining us. Just going through Ndumiso, thank you very much for joining us. Ntogozo Mbele, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, Tobeka D, our moderator, thank you for joining us. Stelo Mloyi, I think I've mentioned you. If I'm doing that twice, then that is your lucky day. Sazelo Manqele, tuyazi siyabonga mfowethu, but uraf mawubeka lapha, please man, let us try to respect the comments and the other commenters. I don't know, bathe uraf ngizwe kanjalo. I don't know who said it, but I saw it. Kapozini, thank you very much for joining us. Let's go down. Madoda, thank you, our member. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me put it down there. Betty Nyakeni, thank you very much for joining us. Mavui, thank you for joining us. Shubim Timkulu, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys. Mojalifa, thank you for joining us. Spama Sugu, siyabonga mfowethu, siyabonga. Boto. Yes, thank you for joining us. Hlanjiwe Sibanda, thank you for joining us. Let me see if I continue going down. Humphrey Maleta, thank you for joining us. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. Just going to Kolani Jr., thank you for joining us. Nomsa Sasa, thank you for joining us. Let's see who we have not mentioned. Tandim Teimbo, thank you for joining us. Michael Malikata, thank you for joining us. That's going through everyone to say thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Mamela, I've called you. Did have called me. Ignatia, I've called you. Just going down, seeing the people. Yeah, I think I've mentioned almost everyone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. It's not my intention. Charlie, thank you for joining us. Amfuneka. Mzobe, shout out in New York. Yes. Hey, Haraipa. Haraipa 23. Thank you. Keep it up, guys. This case is bigger than Senzo and bigger than all of us. We have a new member. We couldn't just go out without a new member. Then we have done a bit of, Joseph Skosana, I think you're rejoining.
Joseph Skosana, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for rejoining.
I think you're rejoining. Yeah, you're part of our members. Thank you very much. Endim Zobe, we appreciate you. Danny, good night, fam. Yes. Some of your name, guys, is stupid. Siba. Is it Pankana 82? PK Dube 82. Isibongo sona ngisibambile ngoba. Yeah, I'm hoping that I didn't butcher anything. Khawukhalelwe. Amen. Assist. Khawukhalelwe. Yes. Hey, I'm there.
Gaungalelwi.
Eh? Gaungalelwi.
Gaungalelwi.
What does it mean?
Gaungalelwi means
They're not refusing.
no one can
Stop you.
back on you.
Oh, abawungaleli.
Abawungalelwi.
Oh.
Gaungalelwi.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Yes.
name. It's a nice
It's
name.
a nice name.
I like it.
No one can turn back. You cannot, if you cannot dump it.
Gaungalelwi.
Lucky Dove, thank you very much for joining us.
Never.
MZ, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Yeah, I hope that is what happens all the time. No one is turning their back on you unless they are not needed in your life.
Never.
Yes,
Destiny help us.
Yes, unless they are not the good company, then they can turn you their back. And Imzobe, we appreciate you. Mkumbuli Nduli. Mpemba, thank you very much. Guys, that's how we close today. Please like the video on your way out and do the right thing. Share the video, comment on the video as much as you can. Let's push for 300, guys. Let's push for 400. In fact, we're on 300. Push for 400. Let's just push for 400 and then after liking, get out. Thank you very much and enjoy as much as you can. We have adverts here. They are probably going to roll up. It's not us rolling them up. They are automatically rolling up, but they are the ones who are keeping the lights here. So we plead with you. Some of them, they might be irritating, but we plead with you. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Until tomorrow.
Yes.